Good morning, everyone. This is Mike Matsuno, the man in Japan. I'm broadcasting here, or I'm doing a live here from Chiang Mai, Thailand. If any of you are out there, could you just let me know how the audio and the video is? I just want to make sure that everything is okay. So after 30 days in Chiang Mai, actually it was I think 29 days in Chiang Mai, I moved to Chiang Rai, the difference between Mai and Lai. And so I am here for 4 nights and then I'm off to Phuket. But I just wanted to do a quick live stream again about what I learned in those 30 days at Chiang Mai. And I did talk about a lot of these issues before, but now it's good for me to step back and I can look at Chiang Mai and see how my experience there was and what I did learn. And I just wanted to share with you, and I'm sure a lot of you have comments. So if you have any comments or you want to say anything about what any questions, please put them in the comments. Okay, J Star, audio, good. And let's see, audio and camera, good, good. Thank you very much, J Star. So I spent 30 days in Chiang Mai, and I think since everything was based around my Thai lessons. Good morning, Japan Ham. Okay, great, thank you. So everything was based around my Thai lessons, right? And my conclusion is, and I don't think it's rocket science, is that Thai is a super hard language, especially for English speakers. Part of it is because it's tonal, but also part of it is because it has alphabets that we don't have in English, and they have their own, which is hard to read, unless I guess you have to learn how it's written with the upside down E or the one that looks like a backwards C. They have 70 in their alphabet. So you can tell, and when you look at any sign in Thai, there is no way to really decipher it in any way because nothing is familiar to the English language. So yes, that's really difficult. So even after 1 month, 4 weeks of studying Thai, I feel like I don't want to say nowhere, but I'm still at the most basic stage. Like I can say maybe five main sentences, right? Where's the toilet? Or what is this? Or, where is something something? As well as numbers. The numbers have helped because when you're shopping or you're buying things, you can understand and you can actually make an offer. So that has been helpful. But after 1 month, just to know numbers is not that big a deal. But at least I know how the sentences are structured. So I think that that itself is something that is good. And I would say, and I think I said it before in a live stream, that I think 3 months studying for 3 months every week is really what is necessary to be at a point that you probably could have more ease in getting around as far as traveling. So now I can see a few things like, where does this bus go? Or, um, like what is this when I'm shopping? Or, like last night I was at the market and I just said, oh, what is this? And they would say mu, which is pork, or beef, nua, or, gai, which is chicken. So that was really helpful. Okay, Japan, Mike, you are just scratching the surface. Yes, exactly. So I am just scratching the surface. For those of you who don't know me, anyway, a quick introduction. I'm Mike Matsuno. I do a Man in Japan channel usually. It's usually about Japan, but I'm now in Thailand and I've been here a little over a month. I spent the first month in Chiang Mai and I was studying Thai, and so I talked a little bit about what had happened during the last couple of weeks. And today I'm kind of doing the summation of that. And so the other problem was, even if I said my question, like what is this, or where is this bus going, or this red truck going, I couldn't understand what they were saying. It was so fast, and it seemed like I couldn't separate the words. And so even when Noi, the owner of the last guest house, would try to speak to me in Thai, it was too fast. And I think that also goes to, like, when you're talking to regular people, they're not teachers, so they're not adjusting their speed for you, right? They are just speaking it, regular. And, like in the class, the teacher already knows by context because of the textbook what we're going to answer. So she can kind of pick up the sounds, get an idea of what we're saying. So it's completely different from in the class. And all of those of you who have studied a foreign language, you know that from in the class and being outside. So even if I was able to speak to someone in Thai and ask a question, I wouldn't understand what they're saying usually, unless it was a simple answer of yes or no, or is this beef or chicken or pork? And so you're limited, right? But anyway, yes, definitely. I hope to come back next year and study Thai at a different school, a little more serious school. I found it called AUA, and they're a little bit more expensive and a little bit more intense, but their teachers are more experienced. I had a very nice teacher, but she was very young and she was yet inexperienced, and so I felt that I could have gotten a little bit more. Also, it depends on who you're studying with, right? Who your classmates are. So there were 6 of us. There were 4 other Americans and 1 Chinese lady, Nansung. And Nansung was the best. She was fast, she was quick, and she told me knowing Chinese helps with the tones. But yesterday I'm talking to the owner of where I'm staying. Now, look where I am staying. I'm staying at Baan Jaru. Baan Jaru, Baanjaru. Wow, what a change. And take a look. My guest house in Chiang Mai, I loved it. Noi was sweet and nice and kind to me. And for the location, it couldn't be beat. I was living in a local area. But, sometimes a little comfort goes a long way. So I'm now staying at Baan Jaru, and I got it through booking.com. And I chose here, this time not on location because I didn't know anything about Chiang Rai. I based it on the reviews. And the reviews was like, I think it was 9.0. And it was like about how great the host was and everything. And so I chose here. But the price was also really reasonable. So let me see if I can take this. Let me just give you a quick tour, just like I did of the other place. Okay. So, look. So compared to my old place, I'm going to show you this way. This is the room. It has a TV. It has a window. It has, like this, of course. It has a lot of space, little refrigerator down there. Here's your bathroom and the bathroom here. And the big thing, I think, is that it has a divider. So, if you take a shower, if you can see this, it has a divider, this wall here. So at least you don't get everything wet, right? And of course, here's the toilet with the bun gun and then this. So, and they have it well designed. They have a little desk area, but the chair is a little short, suitcase area even. So when you look around and you go like, wow, compared to my old place, this is like luxury. So anyway, I'm staying here and it's only $23 a night, 23. So if you come to Thailand, you can find very nice places or, very decent places. This is not the Ritz-Carlton, but geez, you don't need much more. And it includes breakfast. No other place includes breakfast, right? So it includes breakfast. So think about that. It includes breakfast. It's a nice breakfast, fruit, eggs, or omelet. They serve it to you in the kitchen, in the dining room area. And what is the best place about Baan Jaru is the owner. It's run by a family, a Thai family. And the son, his name is Toddy, Toddy. He studied in the UK, England for 10 years. And then he came back they wanted him to come back and run the family business. Well, they kind of bought or started to build this for him to come back. They wanted him to come back, I guess. So Toddy speaks fluent English, of course, and he is an information dictionary of this area. So every day I just go to him and I said, Toddy, I want to go here, here, here. What's the best way? And I'm biking again. I rented a bike. So he just tells me. But anyway, I'm getting off track about this. I was going to talk about Chiang Mai a little bit later. But I am staying in a very nice place for $23 a night. and I'm renting a bicycle. It's a little bit more expensive because I'm, only for by daily instead, but still getting around fine. Yesterday was a kind of a far ride out to the White Temple, which is spectacular. But anyway, so getting back to what I was talking about is that language. Now, if anyone is thinking about retiring in Thailand, there's a lot of expats who want to do that or are doing that right now. And there's several visas that you can come on. But I think the main thing is that a lot of people get not disillusioned, is that when they come, they actually, they think it's going to be like when they come on vacation. So I would suggest to anyone who's even considering the idea, you might want to just come for a longer period, like a month, 2 months, 3 months. But if you're even thinking of retirement or retiring here in Thailand, you need to come and live for like longer periods, like 3 to 6 months, just to see how you do. There's a lot of expats, and you see on the YouTube online where they come on vacation like every year for 2 weeks for like 10 years, and they think, okay, I know Thailand, I'm gonna go retire there. And then they come, and then they're either lonely, they're bored, they run out of money. There's several things. So I think what also happens a lot, why people run out of money, is that they get lonely, so then they start to frequent more of the nightlife, the bars, looking for, a companion. And they get either scammed or conned, or they just end up spending a lot of money on their girlfriend or, or boyfriend for that matter. And so it's kind of like a trap, a loneliness trap if you're lonely. And that's why what I also learned is that, when I came, I used to come for business trips. Oh, you love the nightlife, but you're here for such a short period that it's exciting. It's an adrenaline rush. But if you're coming here for a longer period of time, you can't spend that way, for one. And two, that's a fantasy world, right? It's not real. And so what happens is you think it's going to be like that because you got that adrenaline. You had those dopamine hits, but it's not. So please, if you're even thinking of, retiring, be sure you come here for like a long period, 6 months, and then see if you really, after 6 months, you still want to do that. Don't sell everything and decide that you want to come. So that's what that also taught me. And also seeing the expats. I've met many of them at the pickleball. A lot of them are doing well. A lot of them are married to Thai women. Some of them have Thai girlfriends. I'm talking about the men. There were only a couple of women who were, I guess, expats. One was Chinese and one was American, and I didn't get a chance to hear their story. But, like my friend William from Hong Kong, he got a retirement visa and he's been here for 2 years and he really likes it. Kim from Korea, I don't know, I think he's on a retirement visa. He has a Thai girlfriend and he's very happy here. So, all in all, it just depends on, like what your focus is. And then putting that on the side, maybe you just want to come and do kind of like what I'm doing, is that you come for longer periods. But I still think even if you come for like a month or 2 months, you have to have a purpose. You can't just come and just say, and expect that it's going to be all fun like before, because it's not, and unless you're going to spend a lot of money. If you have lots of money, then that's different maybe. But if you're going to come, if you don't have anything to do, imagine, and there's no purpose, you might go to the gym, you might do sightseeing at the beginning, and if you're not frequenting the bars or nightlife, then I think you're going to get bored or lonely. So you also have to have that in mind. And that's what I also learned about, not for me necessarily, but for others that I see, that you have to have some idea of what you're going to do here. It's a great vacation spot, but as far as living for a long term, unless you modify certain things, then you may not be as happy as you think you are. One thing I did do on the last Friday before I left Chiang Mai is that I went to a Christian organization where they have a school for the hill tribe. That area is the hill tribes, the Laka, the Akka, the Lahu, the Karen, and then there's several others, because Chiang Mai is in the northern province, close to the border of Laos and Myanmar. And so there are a lot of these stateless families who are not in any one country or they don't have citizenship. And it's a real big problem because if you don't have citizenship and you live in Thailand, you can't get a job. So there's a lot of things going on there. And actually, I heard there were like over what? Over 150, somewhere around 150 Christian organizations in especially northern Thailand working with like a lot of the hill tribes and things. And less than 1% of all of Thailand is Christian, just like Japan, right? Less than one. So, that's a hard thing to move, to move or to convert or to push Christianity in Thailand. However, the northern part of Thailand is actually quite high. They have somewhere, I think it was, I had written it down somewhere, but they have the highest number, I think it was 27% or something at the highest level for certain areas because that's where the Christian organizations are going to help because that's where the help is needed. And no one is really helping a lot of these hill tribes because they're not necessarily Thai. They could be from Myanmar, they could be from Laos, and so there's a lot of things going on here that you never hear about really. And so Friday I went to the school that originally their focus was to take care of mothers who had HIV. This is back like 40 years ago. And the reason that I went there was my friend in Phuket, she started from 20 years ago supporting this school. She had a calling, she said, and she came up here and she found this school and she supports it every year. And so I was able to go and, to check out the place just to see it. And I met a gentleman and he was American, nicest guy. He gave me a complete comprehensive tour and an explanation of what they do and what goes on. And it's really interesting. So that could be a calling for some people. You might want to come and volunteer at an organization. There's so many here. I'm sure they'd be happy to have you. But where I went to visit, they had a preschool. They had a like an orphanage or kids who are abused. They could stay there, and they also were supporting like all the way through up to college and out. And they were trying to do more of a support for families. They had a whole different perspective. They're switching over, and they were supporting like 49 kids and families outside of the school. And I thought, wow, how rewarding these work. And then on Fridays, they always get together. I went on Friday, and the preschoolers dress in their tribal, clothes, and they each wear, whether if it's the Akka or Lahu or Karen, and I think there's only one word I could say. It was adorable. It was really, adorable just to see them, singing and performing, and they're doing some Thai songs and they're doing some American English songs. They're studying some English. So, and a lot of them, when they first come, they don't know Thai either because they only know their indigenous language. Their parents only spoke the indigenous language to them. So they have to learn Thai, and then, eventually they start to also learn English. But, so the gentleman and his wife who came as missionaries are doing, they've been here 4 years. And very, very interesting. So that could be a calling or something that, some maybe people are interested in doing, if you come here for longer periods of time. I think I always believe in life, you need purpose and passion. You need those two P's. And something like that, I think definitely if you are into, like helping and, if you want to do the word, the word of God and things, definitely there are several, I think 150 Christian organizations doing work in the northern area of Thailand. So that could be something. I was just, next time I come, I told the gentleman that, I would go out. If I could help, you don't want to just be just a log and sitting on the log or whatever. But I hope that I could do something. I don't know what I could do because, the kids are studying some English. And actually also, above their door was a Japanese flag. And they explained to me that a Japanese, I think maybe it was JICA, I'm not sure, had given money to build that school building. So Japan and Thailand, and JICA does a lot of work in Thailand. And there's one lady who comes independently from Japan. She's a retired, I think it was a preschool teacher. And she doesn't speak any English or any Thai. And she comes every year for a month But the director said she's fabulous, that she's able to reach the kids, and she works with them. I don't know if she must teach them Japanese, I guess. But think about that: no Thai, no English, and yet she does very well working with the preschool kids at this school. So that's pretty much saying that if you got the passion and heart, probably you could add value to any of these organizations. So anyway, that's just a suggestion. But yeah, yeah, Chiang Mai is 23% Christian. That's and Chiang Rai is 20%, and Mai Hong Song is 8%. So that's huge, right? When less than 1% of the entire nation is Buddhist, I mean Christian, 99% is Buddhist, that you have such high numbers. So yes, if you want to do missionary work or you want to volunteer, it'd be up here in northern Thailand, whether it's Chiang Mai or Chiang Rai, Chiang Rai here. So, okay, moving on. Let's see, any comments here? Yes, you're an educator, so you get how to teach. Okay, yeah. So I'm just throwing out some ideas. If you have anything that you're interested in talking about, or that you've experienced, or you have any suggestions, please write them in the comments. Getting around. Okay, so another thing I learned is around Chiang Mai or even Chiang Rai, how you get around is going to be the key to how you enjoy the place, whether you're visiting or you're living, right? And as I had said before in an earlier live stream, people on motorbikes is basically it, right? However, as I had said also, is that 20,000 people die every year in Thailand due to traffic fatalities, right? People die. 15,000 are from motorbike or motor scooter accidents. And I even said before, about 1,000 of those who die are foreigners who come to usually visit, And so 2.8 foreigners die every day in Thailand due to motorcycle or motor scooter accidents. So that's the scary part. And the majority of people, maybe 70, 80%, do not wear helmets. You would think with an epidemic like that the government would be on this. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't been pushed. So even in Chiang Rai here, I was riding my bicycle around. I saw a couple of people in the city area, the inner city. But once I started riding out to the White Temple, nobody was wearing helmets. And a lot of these are young kids. They're like teenagers, and they're just gunning it, man. They're just gunning it with somebody on their back. Riding on the back. Young kids, they don't know, right? They're just gunning it. I'm thinking like, holy cow, man. Just, I don't want to say an accident waiting to happen, but if anything happens, it wouldn't be nice. It wouldn't be pretty at all. So, but again, you have to get around. And since most people cannot afford cars, they buy motorcycles or motor scooters, and that's how they get around. And when I'm riding yesterday, what I notice is that it's the young kids or the males that are gutting the engines. Normally, the older women who are riding they're riding actually quite slowly, almost a little faster than me. But they're pretty safe, and they got all their little plastic bags on the handles, carrying the food home or whatever supplies they need to for home base camp, and so they are fine. But what I also learned yesterday riding around Chiang Rai was that I was riding on a lot more open roads with less cars. People actually go faster, of course, right? So it's actually more dangerous in a way. Where in Chiang Mai, there was a lot more cars and a lot more crowd it was more crowded on the roads with motorcycles and buses and song towels and everything. But that meant that the traffic was slower. So it seemed to be a little bit safer, although it was more congested. You see what I'm saying? So both have negatives and positives, but I noticed yesterday that people were actually going much faster, and it seemed a little bit more scary when I was biking. In Chiang Mai, which is much more congested, but as I said before, my friend Todd said, any city you go to, you have to learn to dance to the rhythm, right? And after I'd say 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, I started to learn how to ride the bicycle within the traffic in Chiang Mai. And it still was, you got to be on, and you got to be, like aware of everything going on. But I was able to manage and maneuver through traffic because what I learned is that there is a rhythm of how people go. And I do believe that people were more, I won't say how careful, but more aware of a bicyclist because there were so few out there. And I think they see me pedaling along and I have my helmet on, white helmet, that I sensed that at least the cars, they were more careful, or at least more, um, they were more mindful of me out there. Even the motorcycles, I thought they tended to be more mindful. However, the director who I talked to of the Christian organization, he bikes a lot and he likes biking around Chiang Mai, but he's been into two accidents, he said. And he said the two accidents are caused by motorbikes. And once he said one, he said he was his fault, but he got T-boned, like by a motorbike, and fortunately he wasn't seriously injured, but he was injured. So yeah, you have to be careful. And so if you come to Thailand, if you want to live in Thailand, you have to figure out how are you going to get around. Like William, um, the guy from Hong Kong, he first came, he just rode on the back of a motorbike, whether it was getting a Grab, like an Uber, or his friends. And then he learned the roads and then he bought a motorbike. Then after buying a motorbike, he bought a car. So if you have the money, you could do that also. You know, um, you could buy, slowly progress up as you start to learn the roads and things. To me, it seems crazy, but they said no, no. Even the director of the organization, he's been here 4 years, and he drives a huge SUV. Like a front cab with four can sit, and so. But he says you get used to. So I guess it's just a matter of just doing it. But getting around is the key to, like how you're gonna live, because it's all about transportation, right? And where you're living, of course. And I guess there's many homes and even condos in Chiang Mai that you can rent for between $300 to $500 that give you a quite nice place. They normally want a contract for 6 months minimum. It's a little more expensive, and then 1 year, which is the cheapest. And if you only want to go 1 month or 2 months, it's the highest price, but you can. There's also Airbnb, which I was actually looking into for next year, that you could do for maybe, not 6 months, but maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So you could do that. So and even fairly nice places. I guess the question goes is, do you want to live in a local area like where I was at my last guest house, or do you want to, you want more comfort? Like here, Ban Jaru is actually in a local area, but they have built it up very nicely and it's very quiet. There's no motorcycles sound like at my last place. I was on a kind of a busy street, so every night, or you hear the garbage man come at 2 a.m. every other day. So here it's like, wow, this is like paradise, just quiet, right? So yeah, you probably want quiet, and if quiet, you probably want somewhere out. There's an area called Niman that you always hear people talk about. It's kind of the trendy area, a little more expensive for tourists, but they have a lot of condos out there. So if you want to do long term, and but again, I was thinking, if you first came and you knew no one, and you found a condo and you went in, I think you'd be a little lonely unless you had things to do. So in that case, there are a lot of Facebook groups, like, maybe you play pickleball, you can join the Chiang Mai pickleball group. There's the hiking, Chiang Mai group, and I'm sure, and which I was invited to, and I never got to go. But there are several other hobbies or sports or rec things that are on Facebook. So that would be, I would suggest something that you could do if you come and you got a condo and you're alone and you're looking for something to do. Use the Facebook groups, and that's how you start to make connections. Now, if you watch some YouTube online videos about Thailand, there's one guy who has been here 12 years, and he says, you don't need Thai, just speak English and he's fine. I disagree. I think that you need to know at least a minimum amount of Thai to increase your ability, not only to get around, but to make friends, to make Thai friends who maybe don't speak English or don't speak English well. That guy, I think he's Caucasian, white, and he has an accent, but I think he's from Europe. But anyway, he's been here 12 years and he's very successful. He's doing well. He's a Thai girlfriend and all, but he says you don't have to speak English. I don't agree. The more Thai you speak, the better your experience will be. And I'm saying that because of Japan also. You know, when I first came to Japan and I didn't speak Japanese, you're limited to only people who speak English. And so I was young then, and if you wanted to date or go out with girls, you were limited to girls who spoke only English. But if you could speak Japanese, then you're open to the half of the 127 million. Well, I'm exaggerating, but just the point. Thai is the same, I think. And I think you need Thai friends. And so yes, I would highly suggest if you come and you're going to stay here to invest early in studying Thai at any school you want. And the YouTube study online is great, but I think it's Thai has to be in person, I think, because it's so difficult, and you need someone to ask questions right away. Maybe online, like virtually is possible, but I think it still has its limitations. So anyway, definitely recommend studying Thai somewhere and eventually getting a base that you can get around and you can make friends, because I think that is the key, right? It's just like our study abroad. When we send our students out, the Japanese students out to anywhere, especially United States, the biggest problem was making friends. They couldn't make friends with local people. Same in reverse. You come as an expat to Thailand. If you cannot speak, you're going to be limited to those expats only. And there are expat groups and Facebook expat groups, and a lot of people just hang out with them. And if you're perfectly happy with that, that's fine. But take the couple that I met. They've been in Thailand 5 years. Well, they said 3 because COVID doesn't really count because they went back for a while. So let's say 3 years. And they didn't even think about studying Thai until now. You know, so you take so a lot of people don't think about studying Thai until they stay here a while. I think if you know you're going to be here, jump in right away. The sooner and the more you speak, the more rich and fun your experience will be. And it's not that expensive to study. In fact, even in Chiang Rai here, I saw a sign. I'm going to go check it out maybe later today. They teach Thai. So I said, well, maybe I want to come into Chiang Rai and study. It's a more laid back town and things. And so yes, there is Thai being taught, and there's also something called an education visa. If you want to get an education visa, you can study for a year, I think it was, and you don't have to leave the country. I don't know what it costs. It's not that expensive, and you can get a school to write you for the visa. So that's also possible. Education visa. You could study, what is it called? Muay kickboxing, Thai kickboxing. I can't, Muay something. They also give a visa for that. I mean, there might be one for cooking. I'm not sure, but there are cultural visas that they also offer. So that might be possible. Irasima One says, I'm so glad you are doing this. Thailand is definitely on my list, short term or long term. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Irasima. Short term, of course, everyone has a great time. Long term is a different story if you don't have purpose. But, volunteering for an organization, studying Thai, or doing them all, or retiring. You don't have to retire here like the whole year. You could come here, like for example, Chiang Mai. The best season is November, December, January, and half of February. Then it's the smoky season. I have never been here during that, so I don't know, but it's so bad. Even like William said, he lives here full time. He said that he left to Hua Hin down in the south because I think it's from mid-February to I think April or May, 3 to 4 months that they burned the fields, and the air quality is so bad that you can't even go out. And imagine you're riding a motorbike or whatever, or bicycle outside. It's got to be bad. So maybe you just want to come here for the 3 best months, and then after that it's the rainy season, and that's not so great either. But it's not that big a problem. But the smoky season, you don't want to be here. So that means that if you're going to live here all year round, I mean, you want to get a condo for a year, but you're not going to be here 3 months, then maybe it doesn't make sense to get the year contract. Maybe you want to come here and then you want to live down south. A lot of people want to go to the islands, they call it, down south, where the beach is, right? This is the mountain area. So what William told me is that a lot of it's interesting, the Asians, the Koreans who live here and the Japanese who live here, they stay all year, no matter what, even if it's smoky. But the foreigners, like the Caucasians, the expats from America, and the white Caucasians, they tend to leave. So I don't know what that means, but take it for what it's worth. But he, being from Hong Kong, he wanted to stay. He tried, but he couldn't. And if you play pickleball every day, it's hard to play, right? Because it's the air is so bad. So anyway, just be mindful. I love Chiang Mai. I didn't ask any about Chiang Rai. I'm sure they have the same smoky season, but I'll check if they do, because if they don't, maybe Chiang Rai is the place. But I'm assuming that this whole north area must be just smoked in during that time. So, but yes, think about Thailand. And I want to say, after a month, the Thai people are really, really kind. They're very gracious. They're very humble. I think a lot to do with the Buddhist, culture, and the whole, the upbringing. You hear a lot of the scams, on YouTube or on the news and things. Yes, there are scams, there are crime, like especially in Bangkok. But like Chiang Mai, I didn't see any scam, or I didn't hear about anything in Chiang Mai. I'm sure there is crime, but I didn't see it. I didn't hear about it. And so Chiang Mai being the smaller city, although the second largest, over 200,000 people. I checked online and it said 1.3 million, but everybody else quotes me 200,000 people. So I don't know if they're talking about inner city versus the whole area or what, but you might hear that range from 200,000 to 1.3 million. Anyway, Thailand, I mean, Chiang Mai I found super like safe. Now, traffic is another thing, right? Traffic is a whole another thing. And someone told me this too. It was an expat. He says, the Thai people are the most kind and gracious, but except when they're driving. So just be mindful. It's like, it's kind of aggressive with the motorcycles, especially those people who are trying to deliver, like the Grab drivers or whatever. They're zipping around. That's how the guy got T-boned, he said. He said it was a red light, nobody was coming, so he thought he would go. Someone came out of the cracks of between two cars. Bang, hit him. So defensive driving, don't take risks. But as a cyclist, and I talked to Mr. Winai, the guy who I rented the bicycle from, and I told him, okay, Mr. Winai, I seem to figure out how to maneuver through this, and it's hard, but I think I'm the only one of the few cyclists riding. And he says, yeah. Again, he told me the same thing. The foreigners are the only ones who ride in city. The Thai people cycle, but they go outside. Or they take their bike and they go to the city quickly, 6 o'clock in the morning, and they get out and then they ride and then they come back. So they get it, I guess. They don't want to ride in the city because it's kind of crazy. It's Chiang Mai we're talking about. So anyway, okay, just the air quality is important for individual health, I guess. Yeah, very important. So maybe Chiang Mai is not the place for all year anyway. You want to come during the best season, end of October until mid-February. And then maybe go south if you want to stay in Thailand, go to the islands or wherever outside of the burning season. So, okay, let's see. Oh, food. Okay, when it comes to where you're going to live, right? Let's say you're going to come for Thailand for whether it's a longer period of time or for forever or whatever. I think the biggest cost comes down to, okay, we're talking about the bars, the nightlife, the women or guys. That's going to be your biggest expense. But let's take that out. Okay, so let's say you're not into that anymore. You don't need that. Then what happens is your biggest expense, I think, still becomes food if you don't eat like street food or what the local Thai food people, the Thai people eat. If you want Western dishes, okay, I will admit I did break down. I did go to McDonald's one day because I was riding. It was early. It was morning. I was coming back from checking out a condo that I was thinking of maybe next year I'll go to, and I happened to stop at a shopping center area, and they had McDonald's. It was breakfast, and I like McDonald's breakfast because I always eat at Kicks before I leave out of Kansai. So I decided to have their morning, thinking that it was going to be cheap. I said, okay, I'm hungry, and I hadn't had that much protein. I was eating a lot of noodles, so I said, okay, I'm going to eat like some mega muffin. So I go in, and the manager is helping me there, and she speaks English, but she's very serious. So she goes, okay, this. And I kind of felt like I got a rush. Anyway, I ordered the double sausage egg McMuffin, right? So I see the price, okay, 85 for the regular, 85 baht, which is about $3, or 119. And I'm thinking that's the meal, right? So I said, okay, $4 for the meal. That's pretty reasonable. And iced coffee. I was going to get iced coffee out at the store anyway. So I said, okay. Well, that wasn't the meal. That was only the sandwich. So my bill came out to be 185 baht, which is $6, which in Thailand is expensive, right? If I'm eating for between 60 to 90 baht, $2 to $3 a day, a meal, and I'm now spending $6. That's a lot. So my point is that if you want to eat McDonald's or you want to eat at a nice Western restaurant or Mexican food or um, American dish or European dishes, you will pay. And so that's going to be the basic expense, as well as if you want to eat at nicer Thai restaurants for Thai local food, which a lot of the foreigners do go to. You can get your pad Thai and all these places. That's going to average about 100 baht, roughly 100 to 150. So between $3 to $5 a meal for just regular Thai food, but served at a nicer air-conditioned restaurant usually, and where it's the taste I think is different because I ordered what is it called? Gang Kiao Wan. Gang Kiao Wan. That's the green curry, the green sweet green curry, I think it's called. Kind of like a soup almost like. So I went to one of those tourist Thai restaurants and it was 100 baht. And I think I mentioned that they also had a big bottle of beer. They didn't have small. That was 100 baht. So I spent 200 baht. Okay, divide that by 3. That's what? Not much in America, but for Thailand, it's kind of high. So that's about what, $7 almost, right? So then I went back home and I was telling Noi, the owner, I said, oh yeah, those prices at the tourist areas are expensive, And she goes, yeah. And then she asked me what I had. I said, oh, I had the sweet green curry. And she said, how much did you pay? I said, oh, 100 baht. She says, oh, at the market, only 30 baht. So 1/3 the price, right? Okay, you add the sticky rice into there or the rice, that's 10 baht. So let's say 40 baht. So the next day I went to the market to check and I went to hunt for it was called Gang Kiao Wan, I think it's called, sweet green curry. And I was going around and everybody looked at me like, oh, you must be stupid because I'm saying Gang Kiao curry? Like I'm pointing to all the ones that look similar. And they look at me like, what? They go, no, So one lady said, oh, over there. So I go back down the row. And I asked her, and yeah, she had it. And she goes, yeah, it was 30 baht. And I got rice, so 40 baht. And I went back to the guest house to eat it. And it tasted different. So I think also what the foreign taste is and what we expect, like when we go to America at a Thai restaurant. And a lot of times what you get at the market is different. The more expensive curry for the tourists was much more colorful. It had more stuff in it versus the local. So there is a quality issue maybe or ingredient issue maybe that was different. What was interesting was the tourist one was hot. And I had said pet noi, little hot. But the local one wasn't hot. So I'm thinking like, I wonder if it's really hot or not. Or maybe they make it for the tourists. I don't know. But anyway, your cost for food is going to be the highest because most foreigners are eating at more of the nicer restaurants, whether it's Western or foreign dishes, or at the nicer Thai restaurants. They're not eating at the market so often or off the streets. So that's going to be one of, I think, your biggest expenses if you do decide to come. But again, if you're talking about the dollar baht rate, the dollar is so strong now, you're king, just like in Japan. But in Japan more so. But here too, if you have dollars, you can live very well, as long as it stays strong. Getting back to the comments, Irasima wrote, you're right. I remember that in a lot of countries, McDonald's is actually expensive. Yes. And before, McDonald's in Japan used to be really cheap. It was super cheap, But it seems to have gotten higher. But, not as much as in the United States. A lot of Japanese who go to the United States eat at McDonald's thinking it's going to be cheap with their family. And the bill is like $40, and they're like shocked. So, McDonald's can be safe anywhere. Okay. Overall, there's a lower cost of living if you want to come and live here, of course. Things are cheaper. Internet is cheaper. Internet is faster. That's what I can't get in Japan. I'm paying so much and then it's slow and it's expensive. Where here, it's quick to get, fast and cheap. So that's a big plus for Thailand. Return. So let me check a couple of other things. Oh, other things like going to the gym, right? The cost here, I pay $2 when I go, or you can get the monthly fee, which is cheap. Gym is cost, pickleball cost, I was paying 20 baht 80 cents, 60 cents every time we played. Hiking, that's free if you go with the Facebook group. So if you don't do the tours and you do what the local people are doing, or you go with the Facebook group people, its cost is very minimal. So actually living in Thailand is actually is very cheap. So it's just the food cost and your alcohol cost, of course. The beer I buy, Leo or Singha, is about 40 baht, a small can, a bottle, 350 milliliters. What is that? $1.30. So I don't know how that compares to American beer, maybe almost the same. So Thailand, definitely you have to compare. And if you want to come here for a long period of time, I suggest you study Thai. I suggest that if you don't like Thai food, then you have to know it's going to be expensive, or you got to cook your own, which sometimes is a hassle. But again, if you like Thai food or you like to try different Thai food, wow, this is like paradise. You can try so many kinds of. I went to the night bazaar last night, and I came back with all kinds of food because I just like, well, I want to try that. I want to try that. I want to try that because I eat anything, right? So that really helps. Let's see. I just wanted to say a couple more things. Oh, a couple of interesting things was, although Thailand is still, there are a lot of Confucian values and things, where the older is better, older is more respected and things, and age makes a difference, seniority and things. What I did find is and this is not only from this time I visit, is when I was working as the director of the International Center at the University in Osaka, is that in academics, in universities, women are the majority of professors and administrators. You compare it to Japan, which is hugely male dominated. You don't have women as presidents of universities. You don't have women in upper dean positions, very few. But in Thailand, I don't know how this system happened. The women are the deans, and even Dr. Matana of Bangkok University, she was female. You have female presidents, administrators, high-level executives in the system. So it's really interesting. That was a big difference, I thought. Academics, women in Thailand do well. So I guess if you're a female, maybe it's harder to compete in the corporate world, or maybe there's still gender discrimination. But in academics, they are the majority. So I thought, oh, that was really, really interesting. Hospitality. When you talk about hospitality, Thai hospitality is great. They call it the land of smiles, right? If you go to a very expensive hotel or whatever, or restaurant, great service and all. But there is one part that I still don't understand, and this is I brought up before. It's like when I went to the school the first day or the day before to where I was studying Thai, there was no affect. People either didn't even acknowledge me. And every time I came into the school, they're sitting right in front at the counter, right? Nobody looks at you. Nobody greets you. And I was really kind of bothered by that. I think because I lived in Japan so long that people normally, if you're the student of the school, not necessarily just a customer, you would at least say hello. Oh, good morning, right? No. And so I asked some people about that, and I got different answers. From the guy who was white, Caucasian, he said he always gets people to smile at him. So then I'm thinking, oh, maybe because I look Asian or I look closer to Thai that no one addresses me. I don't know. But I did ask another Thai person, and they didn't even realize that was going on. And then they thought about it. They go, huh. But I said, if there's an owner of their business, like you go to someone who owns, like Noi, who runs the guest house, or they are 110% great service. They're helpful and supportive. But like people who work for somebody or work in government buildings or offices, they really don't seem friendly and the land of smiles at all. And I haven't figured this out. I still would like to know what happens. What happens? Is it is it just me that's just picking up these radar? I'm very sensitive to service and people greeting and things, right? So here at Baan Jaru, Toddy is his name. Unbelievable customer service, right? Unbelievable. So, but again, he was educated outside and he came and it's his business. It's different from being a worker for his business, right? And it also could be language too, right? That I don't speak Thai, so not that they know, right? When you go into any office building. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about Chiang Rai, where I am here. This is about 3.5 hours to the, I think it was to the east or southeast of Chiang Mai. It has a different vibe. It's slower paced. It's more remote. So if you want to live in a place or visit a place that's just kind of kicked back, probably Chiang Rai is even more. Chiang Mai is busy. I would look at, if you're from Hawaii, I would look at Chiang Mai more like a Honolulu, busy and bustling, a lot of traffic. And then I would look at Chiang Rai more as like Hilo on the Big Island, more laid back. The second, Hilo is the second largest city in Hawaii, but much more laid back, smaller population, less population, and just more kickback. I think that's where Chiang Rai here has that, and it still has the whole thing about working within the with the hill tribes and the organizational groups. There are many here also. So this could also be a choice for people. And yesterday, and the two most famous things in Chiang Mai are the Blue Temple and the White Temple. And I went to visit the Blue Temple a couple of days ago. And it could be because I was tired. I just got off the bus and I ran down there to catch the night view. It was nice. But yesterday I went to see the White Temple. And that was spectacular. It's almost like you're going into a Harry Potter world. A Harry Potter world blended with Buddhism and kind of a whole extravagance as far as decoration effect. When I edit this video, I'm going to put in some photos and video you could see, but it's unbelievable. Spectacular. That was the word I would have used, And every place you go, there's another gold one on the same complex. There's gold and there's the white one and it's everywhere. And I'm thinking, geez, how long did it take to make all of this, right? And it was done by this famous, I guess, architect who wanted to make a temple that was world renowned and also would showcase Buddhism and his nation and his people and Thailand. So, and it was super, super crowded with tourists because a lot of people come for the day. They come from Chiang Mai to Chiang Rai and they see the sights and they go back. It can be done. It's a far drive, 3.5 hours one way. But I wanted to, I didn't want to just do the rush and come here. And I wanted to hang out and see what's going on in Chiang Rai. That's why I'm here. And I'm really, really glad I did it. So I spent 2.5 hours at the White Temple, taking pictures, sitting down, having an iced coffee, taking it all in, versus people who are on the tour. They get 1 hour. I heard the tour guides all say, you have 1 hour, don't be late. And they gotta really, cruise through. And there's lots and lots of people, hundreds, thousands maybe, that come through, at each day. And on the YouTube videos, they always say, come early. They say, come at 7. So I was asking the owner here, Toddy, about that. I said, should I go like really early? But that's far. For me, it's 13 kilometers away by bicycle. So that's like 9 miles, right? That's kind of a haul. So I figured I got to get up at 5. I got to start riding in the dark. It might be a little dangerous. I don't know where I'm going. Got GPS. But anyway, he said, oh, I wouldn't worry so much. He goes, everybody thinks like that. So everybody goes early. So he goes, it doesn't really matter so much. Anyway, I got there at I think 11, 10:30, 10:30, 11, and I spent 2.5 hours there. And yes, it was something to see. You want to put it on your bucket list, definitely, the White Temple. Now, some people might say, oh, it's too much, or it's kind of gaudy and things. And at first, you could almost feel that. But yet, when you look at all the artwork and the intricacy of all, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, spectacular is the only word I could say. And it's that's why so many people go to visit the White Temple. The Blue Temple is beautiful too. And I'll go back tomorrow, I think, give it another chance because I felt like I didn't give it a fair chance. There's other things to do too, but again, I'm limited by the bicycle. That was kind of like my limit, 13 kilometers. So the next thing is, do I get, next time if I came, should I get a motor scooter and ride out? make sure you have an international license. I don't have an international license, and I don't have my American license here either, so probably not a good idea anyway. But or you could just take a now. They do have a tour here. I saw behind Toddy's desk. You can do everything in Chiang Rai in one day, 1,000 baht. So maybe what 30, what is that? $35, almost $40. See everything in one day. So if you don't have time, you just do that. You go to the border, you go to the two temples, you go to the white Buddha, But it's a rush, right? And so if you just want to see it, that's fine. You can do the whole tour in one day, or you can be in Chiang Mai and do the tour again, the whole day and go back. But that's really pushing it again. So up to you. I'm happier the way I did it this way. As I sat there, not worrying about time yesterday, drinking a iced coffee, I thought to myself, wow, I'm glad I'm here by although, you're by yourself, you don't get to share that moment with other people, but I'm not in that crazy rush, and then, we got to get back to the bus, and, So up to you again. Okay, J Star wrote, just cultural challenge to look inward for those on the forest. Yes. Yeah, it's a good thing, a challenge to, be in a foreign country on your own. As my last live stream last week about traveling abroad, why people should travel abroad, that's part of it too. Getting to know who you are, self-realization, self-awareness, right? When you're traveling alone by yourself, you're totally depending on yourself. You really learn, not only if you travel alone, but when you travel abroad, you learn where you come from. You learn about your values. You learn about who you are. And maybe that's way more important than learning about Thailand or learning Thai language or learning Thai culture, is you learn about who you are. And I think that is the biggest lesson about traveling abroad, living abroad, working abroad, studying abroad. All of those, it's the look inward. Thank you, J-Star. J-Star wrote, can you explain the king effect in Thailand? Oh yeah, the king, as those of you who have traveled to Thailand, is like reverent, and it's like really untouchable, and you cannot show any disrespect or criticize the king in any way, or you will be arrested. So no one, there's no problem there. The king now is the king's son. The king before this was very, very, very revered. He was loved, especially in the hill tribe areas. He was doing projects here in the hill tribe. At that time, when the king was getting sick, his son was living in Germany. He's lived abroad for a long time, and then he came back now, I think only after his father and mother both passed away. You don't want to even ask the Thai people about the king, because that's something they don't talk about. So just let it be that the king is the king, and you see him everywhere, and you see him at all the different watts, and I guess they must give money. He's one of the richest people in the world, I think, as far as having assets and things. But he is so it is what it is. So yeah, when you come to Thailand, do not ask people about the king unless unless you know them really, really well, and don't criticize or say anything bad about the king, because you will be arrested. But the kings, yeah, the king has a lot of influence, of course, because controls projects, money, and things, and him and his wife, So I'll leave it at that. J-Star, I was referring to the people not looking at you for customer service. Oh, the king effect? I'm not sure what you mean, J-Star. People not looking at me with no effect. I think it's just training, right? Because I talked about it in my my last a couple of live streams back, about how Thai Airways used to be the #1 in the world, and they had all Thai women, of course, working on the flights, and it was just about training. And then how JAL Airways, Japan Airlines subsidiary, hired Thai women to work on their flights for cost and everything. They had the top purser on the plane was Japanese, but everyone else was Thai. And they were able to train them to give the service necessary for JAL or JAL customers. So yes, it's all about the training, I think. And for whatever reason, the training systems, just like in Japan, are not very well set up. And I think if anybody was able to start to figure out how to put systems or make systems better, you know, maybe McDonald's, maybe they have the system. They train their people, right? It's supposed to be like a uniform system throughout the world. I'd be curious how Thai McDonald's training system and Japan, which I think is the best as far as McDonald's service, how do they do the same thing? Do they have the same teaching and education? Do they have the same textbook, and how is that run? Might be interesting. Oh, hi, Wally. Great to have you here again. Reference that mentioned, so the messages are conflict. Okay, so thank you, G-Star. Nice to meet you, Wally. So, Chiang Rai, as I was saying, great place to visit, but you could do it from Chiang Mai if you wanted. But again, you might want to come here and kick back, and it's much more laid back. It's not as busy. It's not as many shops. You don't see as many 7-Elevens around. You have to kind of find them. And so it depends on if this is what you want. So I'm going to spend another couple of nights here, and then I'm off to Phuket, going down to see a friend. And that will give me a whole nother perspective of, they call it the islands, right? The islands down there, the beach. And a lot of people want to retire at the beach. So a lot of people will retire in Phuket, or Phuket's kind of overcrowded now. Koh Samui, which is also getting crowded. Koh Samet. And there's several other islands down there that people want to maybe retire down to. They want to be on the beach. So that would be where you would go. I like Chiang Mai because of the vibe, this northern area, and Chiang Rai. I don't know. I like the mountains, except for the smoky season, which I haven't been here yet, so I don't know. But I think if I were to choose a place to live for, the nice period would be, of course, definitely up north. It's cooler. I think the people, I don't want to say are nicer, but are more maybe patient. They're more, they have more time maybe. Prices are, I think, lower than Bangkok, definitely lower than Bangkok, and I'm sure lower than Phuket. So it depends on really what you want. If you want the ocean, then you'd go south. And if you want the mountains, or you want both, you could do both, right? You could live half a year, or 3 months here, 3 months here, 3 months there, and you could do it all. And so I guess I can't speak enough about how Thailand is a great destination for, as Irasima was saying, for a short term or long term, or to retire at, if you can find enough things to keep you going and have your passion and purpose. But all of those, the only thing that's a little tricky is some people come here to work as a digital nomad. In fact, Chiang Mai is the place that has the most in all of Asia, I think, because they like the vibe, right? I don't know what they do in smoky season. I assume they leave during smoky season, the digital nomads. And there's a digital nomad visa now that you can have. I think it's up to 5 years. And it's like 180 days you can stay, but you have to go and make a real application or something. The visa and the tax, and somehow they don't get taxed if they get paid out of country, but I heard something about that might change. Tax and the visa situation in Thailand it's very fluid. It's always changing, and you got to keep abreast of it, because you don't know, if you have to pay, or or what the visa is. So be mindful of that. You can watch YouTube on the latest, or you can you can go on the government site. But that's the tricky part, is that the taxes, if you're going to work and live in Thailand, or you're going to work remotely or like a digital nomad, the taxes and the visa is very fluid. And so it's a little tricky. So just be mindful of that you have to leave the country, or you don't, or how long you can stay without leaving the country. It's very complicated, so just be mindful of that. Anyway, it's almost close here. I just wanted to just talk a little bit about what had happened the last month. I definitely would do it over again if I had the chance. I'm happy that I had chose Noise Place, although it was quite noisy and it was very basic. It was her, and just like here, I chose because of the reviews of the owner. And it depends on what you're interested in, but I am also always interested in knowing the people and having good support of where to go, as well as I know that that person would take care of me once I get there, as far as if I need any help. And that's why I chose Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, based on reviews on the owner. of course in Chiang Mai, I chose location and then the owner. And here it was about the owner. And I was not disappointed at all. This Banju has 13 rooms. Imagine, this is a 2-star hotel and it's beautiful. The walls are thick, soundproof. They serve breakfast. They have, a divider between the toilet and the shower. A lot of space for your clothes here. They got TV. They got um, some English channels like Sky News. Um, well done. If I were designing, and they have outlets. Amazing. You know, Toddy and his family plan outlets, all over the room. It's amazing. I've never seen more than even in America. They have outlets all over. So, whether you're charging or you have a CPAP mask or you have so well thought out. They have windows, 3 windows, so well lit. Unbelievable. And yet, $23 a night. I'm going like, wow, they have the model of success. I'm sure they're full most of the time, you know, because they figured it out. It's run by a family, Toddy and his mom and dad, and yeah, it's just really nice. So if you coming to Chiang Rai, I highly recommend Jaan Baru, and his name is Toddy, and you can get it. I went through Booking.com originally, but nicest guy, very helpful, fluent in English, and will steer you to places that you want to go. And if depending on how much time, he will tell you what to do and how to do it. He does, like when I ran the bed and breakfast with Stella back in back in the early 2000s. I used to do what he does, right on the mat where people would go in Fairbanks, Alaska. He does it just like me, but better. And there's more places and more things to do in Chiang Mai, so it's even easier. And yeah, and because he speaks Thai too. He helped me yesterday. So for example, I'm going to the meditation center today, this morning after breakfast, because my friend Amara and Todd, who own the Suica, actually this shirt I'm wearing is Suica. They have one of the most successful t-shirt producing factories in Thailand. And they started, what 40, 50 years ago. And I've been friends with them for, 40 years, thanks to Mona, who brought me to Thailand, introduced me to them. Anyway, Amara built a meditation center here and a place for the monks that they can come, because during holiday, they have no place to go. So there's a place that they can, like a retreat for them, as well as a meditation center. And she had invited me to stay there, but she wasn't going to be here, and I didn't want to impose, and I didn't want to take advantage in any way, or so. I thought that I'd stay here first and visit, and maybe in the future, depending on the situation, maybe I'll stay there the next time in Chiang Mai. But I like it here in Bahan Jaru. So today I'm going to go up there. So there are also meditation centers. So maybe some of you are interested in doing meditation, or staying there, because she said they can take up to 15 people. Maybe staying there and meditating for a week. And I guess they have monks that periodically come and talk. You can talk with monks here. Amara is very supportive of building, like monks, different wats and stupas and things. So she's very involved in that. I'm gonna see her in Bangkok, and I'll talk to her again then. But again, so that's what I'm doing this morning. So if you're open to things, there's so many things you could do, right? You could volunteer at the Christian Society. You could go do meditation. You could do, of course, sightseeing. You could hike the trekking up in the hill tribes. You could do, you could study Thai. There's so many things you could do, and which is reasonably cost. Stay at cheaper places like this. So I don't know what more to say then. Thailand is really a traveler's paradise. You could get high end and stay at the expensive hotels, or maybe you stay in Chiang Mai at the Ritz, at some of the really high level, like the Oriental level, and come here for the day. If you want to stay at a really nice hotel, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want, right? You could even fly, I think, to Chiang Mai from Bangkok, or I think from, I don't know if I don't know. They must have a flight from Chiang Mai here. The bus is great too. One more thing, last thing about the bus: air conditioned, really kind of cold. Make sure you have a jacket. The seat goes quite back. I did the VIP. VIP was 400 baht. So 400 baht was what, $14, $12. Very reasonable. 3.5 hours. They have a toilet on the bus. Not the, it wasn't dirty, but it was kind of cramped. But the only thing is their customer service on the bus. The lady comes on and she's like really mad. Like she's like taking care of, I mean, because it's the language and most of the people on the bus are foreigners. So she's just checking your name that you made the reservation. No smile, no greeting, just check the name. And then she gives the announcement, I guess, about, I don't know what it was. I couldn't understand about, when they're leaving or whatever they're saying, all in Thai. And there's no like recording. So we don't know what she said. And then she goes in the front and they close the door in the front. So her and the driver are in the front cab and everybody's in the back, right? Nothing. You don't know. You don't see her until the end of the trip at the other end in Chiang Rai. So something like that to me was kind of like, geez, it wouldn't be that hard to either have something in English on the screen because they have like the TV screens or even a recording that at least people would know what she said. Maybe she said something about safety or in emergency do this or there's a toilet in the back or whatever she said. So this is the interesting thing about Thailand is that it's kind of a paradox at times, right? You got a great physical bus VIP service. Oh, also in the little pocket in front, they had a small bottle of water, a little cookies, chocolate cookies, like a cracker cookie, something to wipe your hand on in the little pocket for each person. That's more than the green card does in Japan. The Shinkansen that you pay buku $1 million for, I mean, not million, buku money, gives you one of those hand wipers only. You don't even get the little sweet chocolate crackers you don't even get the bottle of water. But here on that bus for 400 baht, yeah, so that's what, $13 roughly, you get the air conditioned, pretty much reclining seat, not all the way down, but reclining seat, comfortable, wide, spacious, with the treat, with the little chocolate cookies and the water and the little hand towel, with a toilet in the bus, but yet no human or interpersonal contact as far as understanding what they said. All they would have to do is fix that part, and everything else would be great. So again, that the bus company, I would think like, why don't you just put in a recording, or why don't you just put out you can hand out flyers or put it like on the screen. This is what's going to happen, so more people would know, right? Anyway, that was my experience on the bus, and that's the kind of the paradox part about Thailand. You got these amazing physical things, but yet because of the language or because of the training, people don't know how to do guest services or customer service. And it goes back to what I was saying, that back at the school or at government offices or different places, no effort. People don't even acknowledge you. They don't even say hello. They don't even nod. They just kind of like either don't look at you or have this kind of like almost like a sourpuss face. Yeah, I know it sounds strange, but that's what I felt. Okay, I'm going to end here. J-Star, sorry. Okay, so thank you again for tuning in today. This is the last part about Chiang Mai, and appreciate you being here. I will be here a couple of nights, as I said, and then off to Phuket. So thanks for joining me. Hope to see you on the next live stream, wherever it might come from. Whenever I have an idea, in the middle of the night, I think, why don't I do a live stream on this or that? But thank you for joining me. I know what I say sometimes is redundant, and a lot of you, I'm preaching to the choir. You already know what I'm going to say. But thanks for being here, and thanks for watching. This is Mike signing off from Chiang Mai. Take care. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye. Thanks again.